nobody, you know, is going to pop out there. He must have seen the units coming. But here he comes to the intersection. It's on the brakes.
Oh, my
It's like spin right into the car.
Oh,
Boom!
my.
Right into opposite traffic. And just there you have it. Poor people just sitting there waiting for a red light. And then this guy comes flying across, clips, goes out of control, and head on with those cars parked in the northbound Alameda here. So you can see it's come to a stop. A lot of damage to the cars. CHP pulling in on scene. And we have, you know, they got to take care of the suspect as well as check these other cars. You see the carnage left right there. Just smashed those cars completely, and now it's spun out. You can see the airbags have deployed in the car. Now CHP is going to start their extraction process here. If the person is able to get out, because that was quite the accident. Now the officers pulling in behind, their job is going to be to tend to any injured here. You see that little Mini Cooper just smashed into the curb, back into that little white car. And then now you'll have to keep an eye on them. Those folks took a real hard hit. And now back to the car. We'll keep an eye. Man, I got you.
And these people just sitting there minding their own business, and then this guy comes barreling through there, and you know, perhaps now they're injured, and then the car in the back doesn't know what's going to go down. I mean, how frightening could that be?
He lost his wheel. If that tells you anything about the impact, I mean, that the wheel flew off that car.
Checking. Yeah, you see the officers checking the victims back here, getting down, and this guy's just trying to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And so, man, it's a crash that's just unbelievable. And you're sitting there, you have nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. And this guy is out of control, coming right at you. And then right now you see the car is still sitting there. You can see the smoking just a little bit from the radiator, just destroyed the radiator on that. And now the chippies or CHP is trying to get the, old law enforcement thing there. CHP is trying to get the other folks out of the way so they can clear the area so they can get up there and make their approach on this suspect. But yeah, a lot of dynamics going on right now these officers have to take care of. They have to worry about the suspect, and also they got to render aid to these poor victims who are just sitting here in that red light. We're on Alameda, just south of Randolph. We talked about that street before he was on. And as he hit that intersection, he just clipped that car, lost control, went sideways, and then into this red Mini Cooper and a couple other cars. You see the CHP officer escorting that driver away from his car. He looks like he's a little bit limping there just a bit, but he's going to get him up in his car and get him out of the way. So right now we're
still no sign of this suspect, and what appears to be an airbag that is deployed. Either that or some other obstruction, but we can't see. And from what I can tell, officers have yet to make contact with this person, if he's even conscious.
Yeah, that's right. So you got all the airbags that went off of there. Plus, when that radiator lets go like that, you have to deal with all the hot water, steam, and fluid that comes out of there. And that could possibly be the steamed up the front windshield because it goes through the venting system. You see the windshield wipers are on, so all the interior of that is completely steamed up. Not hearing anything from CHP is really right now. They're just trying to coordinate everything and get those victims out of the way and keeping an eye on that suspect. And something like this, normally we've seen him come popping out of that right side, take off running. And but right now it looks like he is not moving at all. So this becomes very peculiar for the officers. Now you got a suspect in a car who may be injured and unable to respond to your commands. So at some point you're going to have to be able to make your way up there. More likely they'll put together a team with shields and work their way up to the car. But if you can't see inside the car, you have no idea what you're walking up on. So, and they could very easily ask for an armored unit to come up here and make approach with an armored unit. But that'll take some time to get them in position. So a lot of decisions have to be made by the officers down here. You see that tire you're talking about, the whole wheel ripped off of this car, laying on the sidewalk right there. It looks like the left rear wheel came completely off from the impact of that collision.
Yeah, the car just couldn't take that swerve that he was trying to do as he blew through that red light in the intersection. And we had the video. There it is, right here, the moment of impact of where this crash happened. And he tries to go, off to the side, on the wrong side of the road to avoid another car, runs through that intersection, and then here it is where he passes that car, and then blows through another intersection, loses control, and boom, there it is. Doing a 360, and definitely those airbags deployed, and a really precarious situation as we look live now at the car that is obviously disabled with the wheel off there on the side and airbags deployed and the suspect still in there. It's just a precarious situation all around for the officers.
And unfortunate that it ended this way, but you saw this one coming. He was going through red lights at high speeds with reckless abandon and total disregard for the oncoming traffic. And it was just one too many red lights. Those drivers had the right of way and went through, and he tried to thread the needle, and in an SUV like that, it couldn't handle it. It just couldn't handle it. And this is an interesting situation. The good news to report, again, the car, both of them to the left there, the innocent bystanders, appear to be okay. We saw them walking away from the crash in the arms of CHP officers, and they've guided them to the back of the CHP vehicles to get them out of harm's way, but they appear to be walking on their own power. The fate of the suspect, we do not know at this point. It appears as though they have yet to make contact. We have not seen any movement from the inside of that SUV since it crashed.
No, not at all. We're kind of keeping a close eye on it, but the windows, like I said, are fogged up. Let's punch it really tight there, Colton, if we can, and see if we can see anything in there. That driver's window is a little bit open to where you can visible through the dust and the on the steam. You see somebody moving in there, so he's at least conscious. And so we'll have to see what the CHP is going to do here. They're asking for the Sheriff's Department to come with some extra units to help out, and I'm sure they're giving commands to him over the PA system, trying to get him to come out, or at least put his hands up at the windows where they can see him. But man, that is dangerous for a police officer or a CHP officer to walk up to this car or even to dance with a team, because you're at a total disadvantage once you leave the back end or the sides of those units back there. So you want to get him to pop the door open and come out, but unfortunately he may not be able to. But we do see movement in the car, and hopefully the CHP air unit overhead, who's got the light on it, he's now relieved the sheriff, and has given them instructions on what he's seeing as far as movement in the car, so you can see anybody else in the car. And as you were mentioning, Micah, you have no idea how many people were in this car. We know it's a driver, but cars like this size, you don't know who's laying down in the back, or if there's somebody in the back seat. You just can't see when we're chasing them along at these speeds. But right now, they've tended to the civilians that were involved in this accident, and now they're slowing down the pace here to make a plan to get up to the side of this car to try to get the suspect out. But right now, they're going to not put themselves in harm's way to try to approach this car, is what it looks like. But they're asking for additional resources from the LA County Sheriff's here to come help out.
That makes all the sense in the world. You don't know the motivation, and a driver as desperate as this guy was is, in a sense, running for his life. And it ended as we anticipated that it might. On surface streets with cross traffic going that fast, it is just a crapshoot to make it through an intersection in one piece.
And we do see paramedics on scene there, likely tending to the victims of those two cars that the suspect crashed into. Or there we see the paramedics probably tending to the victim that was put into the cruiser just to keep that person safe in the meantime, while the officers do their job trying to get the suspect out of that car and arrest him. So just a bad situation overall. The guy took a lot of people's lives in his hands by one originally going through the red light and then failing to yield when officers turned their lights on for him. That happening at 9:52 this evening on Gage through Miramonte, and he ran that one red light and then just kept on doing it. And as you see here, this is now the result, where not only is he possibly injured, but it crashed into two cars that were just waiting there for their turn to go when he ran that red light and did a 360 right into their car. There's the video again. So it's just it's unfortunate that there are people, innocent people, that were standing by, just going on with their Friday evening, and then here now possibly injured, their cars damaged. Look at that.
Exactly. Yeah, you see this, the carnage he left behind there at the car that he was driving, head on with those cars parked to the northbound Alameda here, and then it swung up. You saw the tail end of it jump up from the impact, and it tears off that rear wheel. and then all the airbags deployed. See how much damage to the car. So that driver, if he wasn't belted in there, I'm sure he took a pretty good shot from that crash. But, you know, least of my worries about him. I'm worried more about the folks that were just innocently sitting there on Alameda as he got clipped going through Randolph, and they just lost control. But you see CHP has taken their time, and if they're watching the air unit out the windows, we've been kind of keeping an eye on the car. He's dropped down low a couple times and got really slow using that night sun and probably binoculars to look into that car, trying to get information from inside that car to see if the guy is moving. And he was reporting that he did have movement, but not much more than that. But we've been seeing that movement as well in the windshield of that car. But the CHP is in he's in no hurry to get up there, those officers, to check this car out, because the thing is you don't want to put yourselves in harm's way for somebody who chose their path tonight, but they still have a duty to render aid to the suspect in that car, but not at their own peril. So I wouldn't go up there as being a former police officer. Right now, I would ask for either armor to come in to help out, or at least ballistic shields to be able to have something between me and that car when you approach. Another thing they could do is use less lethal rounds and shoot the windows out of that car. The big 40 millimeter, 38 millimeter rubber bullets that they have is capable of being fired out that window and knock the window out, at least to where they can see inside and give themselves a little bit more of an advantage. But walking up on a car like this with the windows completely fogged up that you can't see. You can see one of the victims here being transported off by LA County right now as he comes around. You can see right through Randolph there, taken over to the ambulance. I'm sure those folks, they had to get rattled up pretty good, especially that one driver coming out looked like he's having a hard time walking.
Yeah, but we can report that he did walk off on his own power. So
Yes.
to that end, it could have been much, much worse. This driver was going 70, 80 miles an hour on these surface streets, and you know, to hit a car that is idle at that speed could be lethal. And to see that victim walk off